My name is Tristan Weatherburn, and I just wanted to make this really quick video, I guess, to introduce myself. I'm kind of new to the Soul Lounge, haven't been too active, haven't been active on Facebook at all, or any social media at all. And I think that's probably one of the main reasons that Melanie's invited me to speak tonight, to show marketing that happens outside of Facebook. So, Melanie and I have run into each other many times in Ubud. We're always both at Cinnamon Coffee. We've shared many coffees in the past. And she knows I've got an information product business and it's doing quite well. I sold 10,000 copies of one of my latest programs. And, that all happens outside of social media. So I know we've got a really dynamic, soulful group of entrepreneurs in the Soul Lounge. But a lot of people are still kind of selling their time and coaching, or they're also selling just purely on Facebook or social media. So I don't really do either of those things. I do all of it outside of social media and really just programs and products and information products. So the presentation tonight's called How to Use Psychology to Create Information Products That Sell. And not only will I be talking about creating information products, but also the selling part, how to set up the sales funnel, the process that you can take a prospect through to turn them into a customer, what makes people buy, the types of content people enjoy, and the psychology, a few psychological hacks that work really well, and a whole ton of stuff. So, I invite you to come to the presentation tonight. It's at 7 o'clock, and we'll have some fun. I hope to see you there. My name is Tristan Weatherburn, and thanks for watching my video.
Welcome you to another special guest here who is going to be sharing his wisdom with us. We have Tristan with us, who is going to be talking about using psychology to create info products that sell. And I have spent a lot of time in Bali, and one of the people that I met at a cafe, because a lot of us do work at cafes, has been Tristan. And over time and over cups of coffee, I've been watching what he's doing, because he isn't really active on social media, not like I am, yet he's still got a very great full functioning business going on. So I was like, hey, Tristan, come and share your wares with us. So how are you today, Tristan?
Well, you could probably hear it in my voice. Yeah, when you go from Bali, which is maybe 38 degrees, down to Canberra, which is right now probably less than 8 degrees. Yeah, it'll get down to there tonight. So my body took that as a bit of a shock. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, we hope you feel better. And thank you so much for coming online, even though you're not feeling well, to share your information with us. But before you get started, I want to know, what was it that made you want to start your own online business, basically? What was the turning point for you?
Oh, geez. I mean, I started the online business maybe 4 years ago. And that was from just, I went from job to job to job. So I've had almost every job there is, and never really lasted too long in any job or career. And I don't know. I went to a seminar maybe 4 years ago, and they were talking about creating ebooks and selling them automatically online, and it just clicked. And I just thought, yeah, that's something I want to do. And just been doing it ever since.
All right. Well, I'm going to hand it over to you. Go through your presentation. If anyone has any questions, there is a little chat box, so you can communicate to each other during the presentation. And at the end, we'll have a Q&A. So make sure you take any notes or any questions down that you might want to ask Tristan personally, because there's opportunity to do that at the end. So over to you, Mr. Tristan.
Alrighty, guys. So how to use psychology to create products that sell, or information products that sell. So what we're going to be covering is really why info products are the best way to generate income on the planet, in my humble yet accurate opinion. How to select the right niche topic for you, and how to turn that into a profitable product using simple psychology. Two types of content that people will learn from and also buy. So these are actually completely separate types of content that serve different purposes in your business. You don't always do the same type of content. And how to write a sales letter with a sales page template based on psychology. So anybody can really create a product or write a book, but to actually make people see the value in that and pull their credit card out and buy it is something completely different. So one of the main purposes of this is passive income. So Wikipedia says passive income is an income received on a regular basis with little effort required to maintain it. And that's not the only benefit of creating information products. So why sell products at all, right? So There are three main ways to earn an income. The first way is to sell time, and this is typically called earned income. This includes your job, and even entrepreneurs that do coaching and consulting are still selling time. And there's no problem with that, except that time is very limited. We only generally have 8 hours a day of productive time. So if you're selling your time, you can only really earn so much. The other time is to sell money, and I know that doesn't make sense, but this is portfolio income, and to make money with portfolio income, you need money. You can't just jump in there if you don't have any. And this is stuff like investments, loans, stocks, and real estate. We all know that stuff. But the type that I really am keen on is the passive income, and that's where you sell value. So it's not limited by time, and it's not really limited by anything. Either you sell something or you work for someone that does. And information products is possibly the easiest way to actually get into selling products. You don't need a lump sum of money to get started, and you don't need to have any knowledge outside of what you already know. So there's probably something you know a lot about, and you can turn that into an information product pretty easily online. Also, information is the most valuable commodity in the world by far. So a lot of people do, say, invest in stocks. But if you had the information of what stock was going up and down, that information would be worth a lot more than just investing in stocks. And if you have information that helps people do anything to do with health, relationships, or earning money, the information is actually more valuable than what it is the result they will get. One of the main benefits is your income is no longer related to location, so you have location independence. As Melanie was just saying, I live in Bali, she also lives in Bali, and we're free to travel the world. We can live wherever we like, and as long as we have Wi-Fi, which is sometimes an issue in Bali, we were just talking about how poor the Wi-Fi can be in Bali, but as long as you have Wi-Fi on your computer, you can actually generate an income from anywhere. But one of my favorite benefits is that you can help thousands of people around the world do something that you love. And that's probably one of the most rewarding things. When you receive emails daily saying, thank you, it really helped me, your program really helped me, you know that you're actually providing value to the planet. Every dollar in your bank account, someone not only gave it to you, but they were happy to give it to you. Anyway, this is the cheapest way to generate passive income with little to no investment. You may need to buy a domain name, you may need to pay hosting, but there's really no major investment. And the retail price of your product is 100% unrelated to the cost of production. So even if you don't spend any money to create your product and you just do it up, nothing to do with how much you can charge, which is very different to physical products where there is supply and demand and competition. So if somebody makes a product just like yours and undercuts it, you're going to have to drop in price to compete. But with information, that's not the case because the information is so unique to what you know and how you present it. There's also exclusive rights. So a lot of people do like multi-level marketing, affiliate marketing, importing, exporting. All of these things, you're not in control. You're not in complete control. Someone can shut you down, or someone can ban you from doing multi-level marketing, or people can stop you doing affiliate marketing. If you own your own product, you have exclusive rights. You can absolutely do whatever you want with it. Unlimited duplication. So no need to purchase stock, and you never run out of stock either. So if you were to suddenly do something amazing online and you got millions of views and suddenly you had hundreds of thousands of sales, it actually wouldn't be a problem. Whereas with a traditional business, it could be a big problem. Your working hours and income are largely up to you. So you're the boss. And there will always be new niche opportunities emerging online. The world's changing so quickly now that there's just new things happening all the time. Maybe a new Apple phone comes out. Now you can create some sort of how-to with that. There's new software coming out. There's new problems in the world all the time that need solving, and they're never going to go away. There will never be a shortage. And self-publishing is way more profitable than traditional publishing. So back in the olden days, you used to write a book and then you had to find a publisher. These days, you don't need a publisher, and quite often you can do the marketing a lot better than what they can. So no shopfront rent. Like I was saying, just a few bucks on monthly hosting. Another huge benefit is ebooks, podcast, and video sales are all up and continue to grow every year. There's more and more people coming online. There's still now China coming massively online. There's Africa. Most people speak English too, so it's not a huge language barrier. And sales just continue to go up. The other benefit is you can earn an income with almost any topic that excites you. Quite literally, if you were into fly fishing, you could make something about that. If you were, it doesn't matter what you're into, you could make a product about it. You also have the ability to increase your cash flow at any time you need. So let's say you were low on cash flow, you could just do a sale and drop the price of your products for a couple of days and create urgency to buy your product. You're always very flexible with that. And then once you don't need the cash flow, you can go back to normal, right? Distance learning is the future. It's slowly taking over the entire education system. If you really want to learn something in a deep way, you want to know everything about it, your best bet is Google. It's probably not a university, depending on what it is that you want to learn. I mean, if you want to be a doctor, you're going to have to go to a university and do a degree, but generally, the internet is the new way of doing it. And a famous guy called Peter Drucker has a pretty famous quote, which he said, "In 30 years, the University of America, as we have traditionally known them, will be barren wastelands." Now, the first thing you need if you want to create information products is a niche market, or if you're in America, you would say niche market. And that's just a small segment of a market that's already out there, already profitable, already selling. Every product that sells online to do with information is in the three biggest topics of health, relationships, and money. And usually the only exception to that, so people will always spend money to get healthier, people will always spend money to get relationships going, and people will always spend money to make more money. And the only exception to that is really passionate hobbies. So when I was talking about fly fishing, or maybe golf is another example, there's no limit to what people will spend on these hobbies. If you're into golf, you're going to spend a lot of money on golf. And I think we all know that. Same with fishing, and same with thousands of other things. And there's also emotional or painful problems. So an example of that might be, let's say you have hemorrhoids, right? It hurts to sit down. You're probably going to part with some money in order to solve that problem. And if you created some sort of program that took everyone through that and how to solve it naturally or whatever, you're going to find it's probably going to sell. Any example you have, I think we can put them into these categories. Quitting smoking, that's health. Saltwater aquarium tips, that's a really random one, but it's a hobby. How to text your ex back, that's actually a very popular information product. These all are, and that's in relationships. Double garage sale profits. If you've got a garage sale on Saturday or Sunday, you're probably going to buy a guide to make sure you earn more. And that's the hemorrhoid example as well. So these are actually all real products. And some of these products, where's one? So how to get your ex back, that earns a few million a year. Fat loss for idiots used to be one of the most profitable products online. Now, when you create a product, more specific almost always means more sales. And there's a couple of reasons for that. The first reason is that being specific makes it much easier to promote something. If you were to promote something on Facebook, you get to select your target market. And the more targeted that is, the higher your click-through rate would be. The more people would click that ad, and the cheaper your advertising would actually be. So the more specific, if you spend $10 on advertising, you will get more people for every $10 you spend than if you had a much more general product. And not only that, but being specific makes it much easier to sell something. So when you're writing out a sales page, it's much easier to get people engaged if it's something very relevant to their life. An example of a not good enough one would be how to lose weight, right? Better would be how to lose weight for men in their 40s, and how to lose weight, lost weight, whatever, for Asian men in their 40s that live in Brooklyn and like Britney Spears. This is way too relevant, so you can't go too far with this. But like I'm saying, you can really target men in their 40s if that was your product, and you could target men in their 40s in your copywriting. So if you've never created a product before, it's really very easy to do as far as the technical stuff. There's only really three types of products: text, video, and audio. So for text products, if you're on a Mac, I really enjoy using Scrivener, and I think Scrivener's on PC too, and Pages, which is just your stock standard text for Mac. And PC, you could just use MS Word, and I actually think you can use Scrivener as well. But all you need is anything that can be turned into a PDF file. which is most word processors these days. Audio products. For the microphone, you want any microphone with a USB instead of a jack. You don't want the jack input, you want the USB input. Anything over $20 will do. You might have saw my big fancy one I just got recently in Thailand. A really good software to use is Audacity. It's completely free. It works on Mac and PC. And then you can just talk into your computer, and it has some really powerful editing tools that you can use afterwards. But again, to create an audio product, all you need is anything that can be turned into an MP3. Video products are really clever to create because they have a much higher perceived value than audio and text. So ideally you want to combine them all. But presenting on a PC, use PowerPoint, recording. Camtasia is the paid version. That's Ubutte, the great one. And there's also a free version called Cam Studio. On your Mac, Keynote and ScreenFlow work really well. And that's basically what I'm using right now is Keynote. And if I was to record this for later, I'll probably just use ScreenFlow. But again, any software that can be turned into an MP4 is just fine. So that's how to create the product. If you want to sell it, you might want to start using a little bit of psychology. For example, there are two types of content that you can create. And this is just actually talking about the context, the actual content in your product. People only buy certain types of content. And for this example, we could just call that chocolate. People only learn from certain other types of content. And you could call that broccoli. So people like to buy chocolate, but if you want to give them the results that they've bought the product in order to get, you want to serve up a lot of broccoli as well. So chocolate, we've all seen those clickbait things on Facebook, 9 ways to do this. You won't believe number 6. This is just clickbait. All they really want you to do is click the link. But it works, as long as it leads somewhere useful, which it often doesn't. But if it does, it works, and it works really well. Hyped up headlines, often they go too far, and especially these days, they really go too far. But if you can keep it a little bit mild, but yet hyped, they still really work well. All throughout the history of mankind, we've learnt and evolved because we told each other stories, and then we learned from these stories. And every race and tradition on the planet has stories that continue throughout time. And copywriting. This is probably one of the most profitable skills you could possibly learn because that's what makes people buy. You can't just say, here's what's in my product and then list it, because that's not exciting enough to actually have people read it, and you need that sort of entertainment value. So to put it real simply, chocolate equals entertainment and broccoli equals education. And that's the step-by-step useful stuff. But the problem is, if people only buy entertainment, but they only get results from education, which type of content should you use? And the answer is chocolate-covered broccoli. People will get the results they want, but you're also sprinkling the entertainment stuff throughout it. Linking directly to a sales page is just not the best way to do things. And one of the most common ways that people put together their business looks like this. And it's a 5-step sales funnel process. And usually this is just the beginning of your sales funnel. But most people that are selling a lot of products, use this formula. So it's basically a landing page, which is anything that just asks for a name and an email. Instead of asking for money, you just ask for a name and an email, and you promise something in exchange for that. And it's very important that you get their email. That it makes the whole process a lot easier. So from there, you usually would take them to a confirm page if you're doing a double opt-in process. And that's just basically a page that says check your inbox. So from there, your confirmation email would go straight to the promised content. So the landing page in the first step should be promising something, usually a video or a file or anything really, a template. Templates are really popular, but what you want to do is make sure you give it to them straight away, and they're going to be happy to hear from you in the future because they know that you deliver what you promise. And then from the promised content, it can be very easy to just create a simple page, full column page, no sidebar, and that has the video that you've promised, and then underneath that you can link to your sales page. So they watch the video, they say, yeah, that was pretty good, and then they click the link and they go straight to the sales page. Now, why would you do this process when you can link straight to the sales page? And a lot of people avoid this, and I'll show you why. These numbers are just really average. So you could have, so what it means in the landing page, it says 60%. Only 60% give you their email. So you're losing 40% of all traffic. And that scares people off doing this. But the whole point is, and you will lose people at every step, there's no doubt. But the point of this is that you can get your sales page to convert at a much higher rate than 1%. So for every 100 people you send to your landing page, now 5 of them are buying your product, as opposed to just 1 or 2%, which is direct to a sales page. It's not nearly as effective because you haven't proven that you can help them do whatever it is that they want to do. So that's generally a much better way of selling things. Even if you lose 40% of traffic on the front end, you will still make more money on the back end. And this takes a long time to kind of believe and start doing, but it definitely works. And not only can you get a higher conversion rate on your sales page, up to 5% or whatever, right? It could be much higher or much lower. But you can then send them emails in the future and just remind them in 2 days and say, hey, did you check out this sales page? Of course, you wouldn't say sales page. But, did you check out my program? Or what did you think? And then you can actually send surveys and ask people what they really want. And then when they fill out the survey, you can add that stuff to your product and your sales page to make it more valuable to everybody. Another way of doing this is just straight to a first email. So the confirmed opt-in is totally optional. And there's cases where I do use it, and there's cases where I don't use it. But the whole point is you want to give promised content before you go to a sales page. You want to give them something valuable and create that reciprocity. Over 50% of all of my traffic comes from affiliates, and well over half of my affiliates come from previous customers. So the kind of process it looks like is you sell somebody a program, and then they go through the program and they enjoy it. And you can leave automated, or you can leave away a function in which they can leave you testimonials, which you can leave on your sales page to help the conversion rate. But that you can also have a process in which you can say, hey guys, did you like the program? If you share it with anybody, I'll pay you 50% of the money or 70% of the money. And then a percentage of your customers will then become affiliates. And affiliates is one of the major ways to get traffic, because no matter how much of a guru you are on Facebook or YouTube or Google, you can't possibly be a superstar like 100 affiliates could be. So you can't, maybe you can, but it makes a lot of sense to multiply yourself and have as many affiliates as possible. And you might think, oh, well, it sucks to give away 50%. With a lot of my programs, I actually give away 70%. But you've got to remember that these are sales that you would not otherwise have. When an affiliate makes a sale, it's very unlikely that you would have made that sale without them. So it makes total sense to give them the majority of the money and incentivize them to continue promoting your product. And some of them become super affiliates, and they really get good at what they're doing. So another traffic source I have is YouTube. So I created this character. His name is Seb Graham. And as you can see, this is just his channel. And at the top there in the middle, you can see that he's had 1.2 million views. Now, under every video, we leave a link, which of course leads to the not sales page, but the landing page, the capture page, just to capture an email address. And the link under the video converts really badly. I'll be honest with you, it converts terribly. But even if you just get 1 or 2% of your YouTube traffic into an email opt-in, you can do a lot with that, right? You can definitely convert a lot of them into sales, as long as the YouTube channel is extremely relevant to what it is you're doing. So the link under, this is just the quit weed program I created. It teaches people how to quit weed that have trouble with that. And the link under the video just leads straight here. So this is a capture page that converts at over 60%, between 50 and 60% sometimes. It goes up and down. But it basically just says free video reveals. How to quit weed without withdrawals or sleepless nights. And the reason I came up with withdrawals or sleepless nights was from doing surveys. I asked people, what's the problem? And they said these are the two biggest problems. So that's where surveys really help you increase your conversion rate the entire way, because you're asking the people what it is they want to hear about, and then you can use it in your copywriting. Down below you can see they just enter their email to get started, and that takes them immediately to what I've promised. So I've promised a free video with that title, and that's exactly what they get. I have no idea how much time I've just spent, so I want to just check that with Melanie.
Yeah, you're all good, Tristan. That's fine.
Yeah, cool.
So if you want to come back to the video screen and let's just have a bit of a chat. That was really great, Tristan. You have a really fun and educational way of teaching everything. I loved the chocolate covered broccoli. I think that's just going to be something that's going to stick in my head forever now, like when I'm creating I don't know, like a product or a service or something like that, because it's so true, because you got to make it sweet for them to be tantalized, but you've got to give them the value as well. So if anyone has any questions that they want to ask, just either raise your hand or stick in a question in the chat box. I know for me, I want to know, so you started your business, like you don't use Facebook or social media as such to get people to your pages. So is it that you use paid advertising, or what was it that actually got things started for you?
So one of the greatest advertising techniques you can have is you have a pixel on your site, which is a retargeting campaign. So say somebody goes to your sales page and then they leave and they don't buy. You can have a pixel on there that will then automatically advertise to them when you're on Facebook, when they're on Facebook, or they're on Google or wherever they are. Even on random websites, you can use Google AdSense for that. And I don't generally do a lot of that, but some of my affiliates do, and that's a really good strategy, because then somebody sees an ad later online and they've seen the product, they know all about it, so they're like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it even has that effect of going,
Yeah.
oh wow, here's that ad, I've never noticed that ad before. And the real reason they haven't noticed that ad before is because it was never there, because you're following them around the internet because they've been at your page. But suddenly they get that idea and say, oh, this is actually a really big thing. There's someone, I just randomly came across this ad and I've seen it before, so this is much bigger than it actually really is. But generally, yeah, my traffic.
I see.
My two main traffic sources is definitely YouTube, and by far the biggest is affiliates.
Yeah. So did you start off with YouTube? Was that how you actually started to get the first clients to then become your affiliates?
Yeah, most of the affiliates I have were customers, so they've come in through the program, and then to kick it off was mostly YouTube. I did a lot of article writing on things like eZine articles. There's a lot of Article City. There's a lot of article websites that don't pull weight like they used to, but they used to be really, really good, and they still do work. A lot of my affiliates use article networks as well.
Yeah, and that's important to note too, because technology does change all the time. I mean, I know Facebook has even changed since I started using it 12 months ago. So it's sort of keeping on top of what the trends are and what people are doing to get that traffic coming in.
Yeah, well, that's what a lot of people say, is that Facebook is the biggest traffic source for anyone starting out. Google has that advantage where it's in the moment, and that's a really huge benefit. But Facebook has that advantage that everybody's on Facebook. Whoever you want to target, you can find them on Facebook.
Yeah. But I mean, you've built your business up too, that you've got enough sort of momentum with the other. I think it's just really good to have multiple ways of reaching your clients and multiple systems kind of in place,
Yeah, and I think that's also one of the main benefits of building up a little affiliate army, is that you can kind of get off the marketing stand. You don't have to do so much marketing, and instead just help them, really help them. So when someone, says, "Oh, I want to put a pixel on your site so I can retarget with Facebook or Google," um, you spend your time helping them and finding out, well, how are you marketing? What kind of ad do you have? And you just help them do it because, like I said, you can't market your product like 100 people can market your product.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So is it better than to have a sales program on a leads sales page rather than putting it on your website, or should you have both? Or should you put it on both?
Is it better to have a sales program on a lead sales page rather than putting it on your website? Well,
Yeah.
a lead page is your website. They're both on your website.
No, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
Hello. Yeah, it's more, that's what I meant. So it was more about having a sales program, but is it better to lead people to a sales page rather than leading them to your website?
Yeah,
Or is it better to have both?
it's better to test because it's totally different with each niche market. I've tested, generally, I find better results with the squeeze page, the capture page, the lead page, whatever you want to call it, the opt-in page. It has many names. Than going direct to a sales page. It always converts better. But there are people out there that won't give you an email, but they will spend $100 with you. There's both. So recently, I used to always only link to my lead page under YouTube videos, etc. And recently, I've started just leaving both. And I'll say, to get the program, click here, or to get free email advice, click here. So you can actually just do both.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing you don't want to do, which a lot of people do, the one thing you don't want to do that a lot of people do is link to their lead page from their sales page. Because it makes sense, right? Then you could just send everyone to the sales page, and those that don't buy will jump on your email list. But what it actually does is just destroy sales conversions. It's the old saying, one page, one purpose. So if you have, a lead page does nothing but collect an email, and a sales page does absolutely nothing but sell your program. And yeah.
Tristan's really good at that because I got him to look at my website multiple times, and he'll be like, "You're selling too many things on the same page. Like, what's the one thing?" Like,
probably the most common thing I say, I reckon. Absolutely.
And it's true though. I think it's really true because you just distract your audience, don't you, if you've got too many things going on.
Yeah, well, that's right. Like if you have a blog, you might want a side menu that can collect emails and stuff like that, even though an opt-in form and a sidebar converts shockingly. But if you had a sales page, the last thing you want is a side menu. Or if you had a capture page, the last thing you want is a side menu. You just want this full column, one purpose. That's it. Just like that opt-in page I had for the program I showed you. That's just got one purpose and that's it.